and share everything that we're going to be working on together today. I thought today would be a good day to talk through some of the changes that we've been talking about. If you looked on um, if you were on our team call on Monday, we started talking about making some changes to the way that we integrate our clients into the team coaching, as well as helping them really to get more traction. And I think one of the things that we realize is that having having a structure is good, but being able to evaluate if that structure is working to the best of its ability and serving the client and serving all of us well is also a good thing. And so that's why we made that iteration, and it's working. We're developing it and making it better. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to take this time, and it's going to be much more helpful if you guys are help me, with asking questions, and just being interactive will help so much in terms of how this goes. Because if you're just sitting there on mute and you're not understanding what's happening or what I'm talking about, it really won't add any value. And that's really my hope, is that what we do today really clears it up and makes sure that you guys feel like you can move forward in terms of helping your clients really well. So we're going to get started. And so what I'd like to talk with you through today is really just some basics. The basics around how we get clients started well. And I think if you think of any successful business, one of them is not very healthy company, but I love to use this example as McDonald's. McDonald's is a great example of having a consistent experience, or at least a consistent product, because I have been all over the world, like many of you. And if you've ever been to McDonald's in Paris or London or Italy, or you name it, in the US, the fries taste the same that they do in Italy that they do here in the US. And so that consistency people can count on. And so what that consistency builds is that trust, right? That you're not worried about whether that fries that you buy, I know none of us would do that, but the fries that you're buying over here are going to taste any different. So we go there and we go to those certain places and businesses because we know we're going to get a certain experience. And I'd like for you to consider how that structure and that consistency helps your clients expect what's coming, and they feel comfortable knowing that their friends and family that they're going to be referring to you, or even when they decide to start their phase 2 and start helping their clients to coach their friends and family, that you have a solid system in how to do that. So we're going to get started with that. If you have any questions up front, if there's anything you need me to slow down on, please just take yourself off the mute, and let's get into it. So let's talk about, I'm going to talk a little bit about the health assessment, not a whole lot. But if we need to dig in more, I'm totally okay to do that. But the reason why I want to talk about the health assessment is because this is really where we start to set them up. And when I say set them up, I mean really set them up to win. So let me be clear. Set them up to win, and really help them to see that we're going to teach them how to share, because sharing is how they stay healthy. It's how all of us are staying healthy, by helping other people. So this really starts in the share script. All of you, when you ordered your coaching kit, you got this little hard cardstock in your coaching kit. And if you go to, I'm going to share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at here. When you go to your Optavia Connect and you click on, let me just show you how I got here really quick. When you go to resources and go to document downloader, and if hopefully this isn't too much review, but hopefully it's something that helps you. But in the document downloader, there's every single document that we use. And I'm going to teach you a few today, but I want to show you where this document that I'm referring to along with the health assessment is. So if you just type in the search, you can see here all of the documents that say health in it are right here. And so the one that I'm going to be using today is this here. And so At the bottom, or I like to tell new coaches when I send this to them on page 5 is typically where we're starting with the client, right? We've set a time to meet with them. And so now we're going to walk through the health assessment, right? And so we're going through pages 5 and 6. And I know Rachel did a training recently on the health assessment. And so typically we get to this part and then you see the picture of this here, right? And this is the script right here. Now, you can read the script. That is totally okay. I would say that one of the things that I like to do is I like to do a couple things. One, I like to tell them, um, first of all, why we're not a diet when I get to here, right? And so one of the things I talk about is that a diet you can always spot a mile away. It's anytime someone is removing a macronutrient. Anytime that it's always going to be food centric, right? And so those two things are always something that you can spot a diet a mile away. And so I always say, this isn't a diet. Our program has 4 components. I'm going to talk to you about what those four components are, what they mean to me, and what your responsibility and what your role is in each one of these components. And I always say, sound good? And they're like, yes, absolutely. So I always talk about the first one first. And I say, this is your coach. That's me. And so I'm going to be your coach. One of the things about coaches is that you probably have a lot of experience with coaches in your life, whether it's a business coach or a little league coach that you had, or a college or a collegiate coach that you had. The consistent thing here about me being your coach and the coaches you've had in the past is that they're all here to see your blind spot. That's really what their role is. Now, the difference with the coaches you've had in the past, especially if it's been in sports, is they may play the role of authority, and that's not what we do here, right? So we are really your guide in this program. We're here to assist you in helping you to make this a lifelong change. And I always tie it back to what they said they wanted, right? And so that second question, right, when we're asking them, what's your main motivation for making the change? Most of the time, what they're saying is, well, when we help them peel the layers back, they're saying, well, I really want to be healthy for life. You know, I'm starting to see I'm getting older and these things. And so I always make the connection. So I remember you saying that you really were looking to be healthy for life and that you wanted to get off medication. So really what you're looking for is a lifestyle change. You're really looking for a transformation, right? And I always like to use that example of a butterfly, right? Because a butterfly doesn't ever go back from being a butterfly to being a caterpillar, right? And so it's a complete change. There's no going back. And so how we do that is by utilizing all 4 components of this system. So the second component is what's called the Habits of Health Transformational System. And I like to hold it up on the Zoom call because I do my health assessments on Zoom because I know that for most of us, 80% of communication is nonverbal. So Zoom calls help me to build relationship really quickly. So I always hold up the books. You're going to get these 2 books. And I don't want you to be overwhelmed because all that I need from you is 5 minutes a week. I'm sorry, 5 minutes a day in your Habits of Health system. This is the system. And so you're going to be in that for 5 minutes a day. Is that something that you can do? And then I pause and they say, yeah, I can do that. Great. Because one of the things about being your coach is I am certified on this system. And that's it. That's the only thing that when you and I are going to be meeting are really going to be talking about is we're going to be unpacking this second component. And so I'm going to teach you how to use it. We're going to do that on your night before call. It's going to take a couple seconds for me to show you how to use it. But I just need your commitment to 5 minutes a day. Why? Because if I can't help you transform your mind, we will never be able to transform your body. We have to transform the way that you think, right? So we're going to meet once a week for 7 to 10 minutes. So I need your commitment to be with me once a week for 7 to 10 minutes. Is that something you can commit to? Absolutely. Great. Awesome. The third component is our community. We have lots of different forms, one of which is called Nourished. And Nourish is a Facebook page that you can get healthy recipes. You can post some questions that you might have. It's a place for you to rally behind other people that are getting healthy with you. It's closed to the rest of the community, meaning the rest of the Facebook world. So you're safe to talk about how you're changing, what's tough about your changes, what you're loving about your changes, and just know that there's going to be people in there loving on you, and you can love on other people, and it's awesome. The other way that we have community is there's 2 calls, and I'll say, "What are you typically doing at 5:30 on Wednesday?" And so they'll say, "Well, typically I'm driving home," or they'll say, "I'm actually at home by then, and I'm just kind of, hanging around and kind of relaxing." Great. So 5:30 is when one of the client support calls is on. On Wednesday for 30 minutes, we're going to be unpacking this book. So not only are you reading 5 minutes a day, but they're going to be guiding you through this book, right? So you're going to have an opportunity to get dunked again in helping you transform your mind. On Saturday morning at 9 a.m., we're going to be unpacking this book for 30 minutes. So do you see what we're doing? What we're doing is we're helping you to have more time in community, more time in you focusing your attention, your mind share around creating a healthy mind. And so I need your commitment to attend one of those calls a week. And so they'll say, yeah, well, Wednesday will probably work, or Saturday. Great, awesome. You're going to love it. And then the last part is I talk about our nutrition. So I always say, I'm going to talk about our nutrition, because it's not just the fuelings, right? The fuelings are a part of our nutrition. They're not all of it, right? If there's water, right? There is, we're helping them create a healthy plate. And so here's what I say. So the 4th component is our nutrition. Now, before I get started, I want to tell you that most people, when they get their kit, their focus is on the food. That was true for me too. Am I going to like this one? Am I not? Oh, this one looks really good. All of those things. Here's what I want you to know. What I want you to know is the food is just a tutor to teach you to eat 6 times a day. Yes, it is perfect in terms of its footprint. It has all the macronutrients that you need, all the vitamins, probiotics that you need in a day, right? Out of your 5 meals. But I always say this to them. I love that we don't give you 6 meals. Do you know why? Because we're going to teach you how to build a healthy
mental break. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you have a program that gives you everything, then there's no step down, right? It's either I stop buying all the food and then there's nothing left. And so what I want you to stretch yourself in, because we talked about how many times you dieted in the past and some of the things that were hard for you about maintaining your weight. Again, questions that we asked and were answered on the health assessment. This is why this is different. If you decide that you really want transformation, like it sounds like you do, then my challenge for you is to go all in on all 4 of these, all in. And all in just means just keep the commitments that you've set, right? I'm not looking for perfection, but I want your intention that you're intending to use all 4, because that will give you what you said you wanted. So we're going to provide the 5 meals for you. We're going to teach you how to build a healthy plate. We're going to give you all the vitamins, the probiotics, everything you need, and we're going to teach you to drink more water. So that's our nutrition footprint. From here, when you get to your healthy weight, we're going to bring you all the way back to 3 meals and 3 fuelings, or 3 healthy snacks. So typically at the end of that, I'll say, do you have any questions? Now, typically where people will have questions, if they have questions, we'll say, well, this sounds great, but how much does it cost? And I'll say, that's a great question. I'm going to give you a specific answer. It's $13.75 a day. So I already know you're going to save money, because remember when I asked you how many times you're eating out, you said I'm eating out 3 to 4 times a week. just the average American spends $15 to $20 a day. So I already know that if we were just talking about the food and not about me being your coach and my time helping you, and not talking about the habit cell system and not talking about the community, this is a great value, because $13.75, wow, you're getting so much more than just food. Your next month is only going to go up to $14.20. So it's not like there's some big jump. You're going up at whatever it is, 75 cents or whatever it is. So a day. And so this is extremely affordable. Any other questions that you have? Nope, I don't have any other questions. Great. How ready are you on a scale of 1 to 10? So typically I'll say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you to get started on transforming your life, being able to live a quality life with your grandkids or whatever they said that they wanted to create in the health assessment? And then I pause, and they'll say, I'm about an 8. And I always follow up and say, what would make you a 10? And they'll say, well, you know, I don't know. I think if my wife got healthy with me, then I would make me a 10. I said, great. I would love to help you do that with her, but we would need to do a health assessment with her, right? But a lot of times people are like, I'm an 8 or 9. I'm just a little scared. I've done things before and I'm just afraid of failing. And I'll say, I want you to borrow my confidence. I want you to borrow my confidence for about 8 days, because in 8 days, your body is going to transform. And the cool thing is you can't hide transformation. Your friends and family are going to notice it. And the best thing about this program is I'm going to teach you how to share this with your friends and family. And they're like, that's awesome. Yeah. And sharing it with your friends and family is going to help you to stay healthy, right? So you see, I've already started to talk about how we're going to share this program. So it's no surprise, right? There's no surprise to them. There's nothing awkward or weird for them. They know exactly what my intention is. Any questions about this share document and how to use it? Anything at all? No questions? Anybody?
I do, Tim.
Yeah.
So I'm very new. Hi, I'm Jody. I'm very new. And I've only done 2 health assessments without Julie, my coach, so far. And I guess I'm having trouble getting them to commit. I do have one tomorrow with somebody my husband set up my husband's confident, he's fully on board, but I guess what you're talking about, the follow-up, like what's going to be, that's where I'm struggling, because I have people just crying, telling me their story, but getting them to that next level is where I'm struggling.
Okay, so stay with me for just a minute, Jody. That's a great question. And I'm going to guess that everybody on here has had that kind of conversation. So typically, typically what it is how we're asking. So I'm not going to assume that you asked it differently. It could just be them. But I think one thing that is really can be hard or awkward, if we make it hard or awkward, is how we invite them. And so the best way to say that is kind of how after I've explained everything, I say, okay, I have one last question for you. How ready are you to get started right now on a scale of 1 to 10? From there, they're going to have to give you a number. From there, you have the ability to know what the silent opposition is, right? Is it cost? Is it what the food's going to taste like? Is it I don't make any decisions without my husband, I need to talk with him? You're going to find out what that silent objection is, as opposed to, it sounds great, I'll have to get back to you, right? Or whatever, right? So I don't know if that answered your question or if that helped with what is being said. I think what might help me is to understand how are you inviting them, Jody? Like, what are you saying at the end of kind of you've explained everything, they spent all this time and they bared their soul. How are you moving from there to let's get started? Like, how does that sound?
I have been using, how ready are you? Is this something that you think you're ready to do? And I guess My problem is I am getting those answers. Like 2 of the people that I've talked to, well, I need to talk to my spouse.
Okay.
They haven't followed up, and I have followed up with them as far as, hey, here, put them in, what is it? Build Better? No, not Build Better.
It's
What's
called Total Health.
Thank you. I'm like, what's the newer one? Total Health. So I followed up by putting them in Total Health. I've also followed up on Saturdays with, hey, just a reminder, if you want to become, a part of the community and listen in this week. I've followed up with that, and I'm not sure where to go from there. If you just let it go or let them come
so
back to you later.
that's a great question. So let's spend a few minutes talking about this. And if you guys have paper and pen, these are some good things to how to rebut those things. And really, I mean, it's not really rebutting. I think it's just giving them some things to think about. So here are some things specifically about the spouse, right? And by the way, I mean, this is just how Rachel and I normally operate. If she's making a decision, like, obviously something life-changing like getting healthy or whatever, right? We always talk. So I always encourage it. I say, man, that's such a great idea. My wife and I do the same thing, right? So first of all, encourage what they're doing. It's a positive behavior. But here's what I would say. Man, that's so good. That's such a great idea. I do the same thing in my marriage. I'm just curious though, what do you think he'll say? And she may say, I don't know, he's had me try this and that, or I've done this and I just don't know. And I'd say, what I'd encourage you to do is explain your why. The one that we talked about. Remember when you said, and you were just really upset. And again, I appreciate your vulnerability, but do you remember when you said how it feels to be in your skin? Have you ever told him that? Have you ever really just kind of said, honey, I don't know if you know, but like when I go to get dressed to go to church or to wherever, like sometimes I'm just like so defeated and it changes my mood. And I see like I need to get out of this place, and I realize that I got to get some help with it. And I have a vehicle. This isn't a diet. I'd love for you to talk to them or whatever. Like, so there's lots of ways to deal with that. But I think one of them is encourage them to share their why with their spouse and explain to their spouse how we're different. How we're different is this is not about food. This is about helping them transform their mind so they can transform their body. And maybe some specific things that you learn from listening to the health assessment that you're going to be able to help them with, right? So for example, like just like I always say, one of the things that Dr. A recognized, and I talk about this in the health assessment, is that that he coined the term emotional mismanagement. And that's really why 68% of Americans are overweight or obese, because we don't know how to deal with stress. We eat it and we drink it, or we do both. And so without any tools, what are we left with? All that we know. Hey, Johnny, you got an A on your report card. I'm going to take you to get ice cream. Hey, you had a tough week. Have a beer. Right? That's all we know. That's all we learn. So we're learning better so we can do better and change where we are in life in terms of our health and mental health and all those things. So I hope that helps with that. Anyone else? Any other things that people will throw up to you? The taste of the food, like what does it taste like, or needing more information? Any of those?
Yeah, Tim, I have one. I've had several of my friends here in Florida who money has not been a problem, so they're good to jump on, and others who money seems to be the problem, but I'm finding that they don't go out to eat. A lot of them are stay-at-home moms that have given up that, so I've mentioned, well, you could always pay for it by coaching, and that just seems to not be catching on. So what if it is truly a money situation where they just can't afford it? It kills.
I know. I've had very few of those, and I don't think I don't think that we're much different in terms of like, I don't have this elaborate group of friends that have just tons of money. I think one of it is over the years, I've learned different ways to approach it. And that's why we're talking about it, because I want to share it with you.
Yeah.
So here's one of the things I like to say. They'll say, oh, that's a lot of money, or, ooh, my budget is really tight. And I go, man, I totally get that. I absolutely understand that. But I have a question for you. If money wasn't an issue, would Optavia be the choice? With what I've explained to you, do you see that as a solution? And they're going to say, what? Yeah, this sounds great, right? They're going to say, yeah, absolutely. So how far off are we? How far off are we? Well, so if it was free, it'd be for you, but how far off are we financially? Like, are we talking about $100 or what are we talking about? I'm just curious. I'd like to know what is it that are you at with it? And I think that's a fair question to ask. Like, what would you expect to pay for that? Like, how far off are we? Like, is it 100? Is it $150? Because I think what you're starting the conversation to go to is, so if it's $150, what I'd like for you to consider is, if this is the solution, if it was free, let's not let $150 get in the way. Let's find that, right? If you're like, yes, I see, this is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow I've been looking for, not another diet, like complete transformation. I love it, right? Then let's get creative. Like, let's look at things that you're willing to give up to get the transformation. I think part of it is that we have this reservation about us that's like, oh, we want to help people, but helping people means to challenge them to think differently. Like, if it's $150, then what are some things that you're willing to give up if all of the things that you mentioned are so important? And obviously you couch it with a lot of care, right?
Yeah.
But you're still saying the truth. And I think the truth is so important. So for a lot of people, like, you're right. If I gave up my Starbucks, if I gave up this, whatever this thing, my whatever, like do nails, is that really the thing that's going to help you? In reality, like, we're talking about life or death. For a lot of people, like the trajectory they're on, it's going to be medications. And so I think caring about people is saying the truth. Like, if it's $150, let's find that. Let's look at ways and vehicles that that this could be. If you're telling me that, yes, this is a solution, then I would say, take a look at your grocery budget. Take a look at those extra expenditures that you're making, because this is the real deal. And I'd love for you to see more and more transformation. And I'd love to invite you to Total Health so you can see so much more. And I leave the conversation there, because here's the thing. Typically with that, it's just giving them some things to chew on. And here's what I've seen when I've done that with people is they appreciate that. And they're like, they'll come back to me in a couple of days and go, I'm ready to get started.
Nice.
Okay. I didn't ask them where they found it. I just said, they're just like, you know what? You're right. You're right. You're right. I put all these other things, it's interesting though, as Americans, like we feel like we can't ask somebody. Well, why not? Like, if we're asking them, it's not like we're saying we're a car salesman and we're like, come on, you can afford this. We're talking about their life.
Yeah.
We're talking about their health. Like, we're talking about their self-confidence and them crying in getting dressed. Like, that's got to mean something, And so I just let them chew on it and let them figure it out. And here's the thing: we all know, like, we afford things that we want to afford, whether we can afford them or not. And so really what you're just saying is, when you're ready to give up those things that really aren't helping you get to where you want to go, then I'll help you. I'd love to help you. I can't wait to get started. I know I can help you. In 8 days, you're going to be feeling better. So I kind of leave that part of the conversation there, and I give them some things to chew on. Most people are spending on their health by way of medications, by way of doctor appointments, so not only are we giving them money back by solving some of those issues, by helping them solve those issues, but we're giving them back more time. Like, think about all the doctor's appointments they're sitting in, all of the things they got to take off work to go to here. And it's like, just take a look around Nourish. Like, how many people are like holding up bags of medication, and like, that's freedom. Like, so I get excited about it. I have no qualms asking people those questions because I see it so often. And so it's like so strong here that I'm passionate about it. It's like, it's a truth. It's like, well, I'm just going to tell you the truth. Like, obviously in love, but I'm going to tell you the truth because I care, because I really care and I really want to help you. So that's helping them to see the value. It's helping them to see, and I always like to reiterate, like, you're spending money on your food already. typically most people spend anywhere from $200 to $400 on food for themselves, even if they're cooking, right? So what we're doing is just taking some of your food budget for you, and I can help you to create very cost-effective lean and greens that you can have multiple days. So it gives them some things to think about. And here's the reality. And I'll end this part on this unless you guys have more questions on cost, because this has been great. Is for most people, it's just a brick. You know, I always say, and I've heard, and you probably heard this before in different trainings, like people are going to put a brick in front of you, like to create a wall, right? So they're like, try to get over this wall. I'm just putting bricks, right? Well, I can't afford it, right? What they're really saying is I'm not ready to get healthy. And I'm okay with that. I, for sure, do not want to work with anyone that doesn't want to get healthy, right? Because you're going to be doing this. And trust me when I say that is no fun. It makes coaching terrible.
Okay.
So, I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you. And I was not assuming that California people had rich friends. I wasn't saying that.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, like, part of it is like people say, well, maybe your friends have. No, they have all the. I mean, most Americans are one payment. You know, how they have less than one house payment away from being broke. You know, that's just the reality of how we all live, unfortunately. So.
Well, that helped a lot.
Good. Awesome. Anybody else? Any other objection type things that come up at the end? Because this is important stuff. Taste of food. Need more information. I need to get some more information. Can you send me some more? Anybody get those? No? Okay. If you have any others, please throw them out, because this is really, I want you guys to feel really good about when you're in these health assessments, that you have some places to go, that you feel like empowered. And at the end of the day, here's the one thing I always tell new coaches, and some of you know, because I've told you this before, is I want you to feel like, regardless of their decision, that you won. You know, I think so often we buy into, you know, consequentialism. If they say yes, then I did a good job and I should feel good. And so I want you just to know, like, if you really connected with them and built the relationship, they'll come when they're ready. And we only want them when they're ready. So feel good about your decision. Like, I did the self-assessment. Man, I've been practicing it. That was awesome. I built a relationship. I connected with somebody I don't really know. I got to understand what they're trying to create, and they're not ready. Okay, that's not about me. I'm good. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, Tim, this is Dobby. I had a client that I've been talking to for a couple years because I taught with her, and then she moved to a different school, and she finally called me up and said, I'm ready. And that was 2 years ago. So, you know, they're ready when they're ready.
Yeah.
But it's hard not to take it personal. I know.
It is. Yeah. We're kind of conditioned that way, right? You know, if
And
you're
then-
not number one, you're not nothing. Or if you know, I mean, and unfortunately, that's how it feels. And it can feel like you're selling, but really, you guys know, as you're doing health assessment, you can't sell health. And so that's why we don't. We're just like, hey, this is what it is. Are you willing to commit to this? If you're not, that's okay. Can you connect me to somebody that is? Or when you're ready, I'd love to help you.
And then one more thing, Tim, you know that client coach tracker
Yes.
that Rachel put in the power hour? I can't download it and print it for some reason. I don't know why.
I will take a note of it, and we'll work on that. So it's the tracker, the client tracker.
It's the client coach tracker, the big long one that has it for both.
I think that's the one that Daphne created, right? She
Yes.
revamped it.
I don't know. No, that's a different one, I think.
Okay, I'll take a look. I'll talk
The
with
one that
you.
Rachel created, and it was in the power hour. And I'm thinking maybe because I'm sending it to my school email, and maybe they don't want me doing that.
I don't know.
So I'll try a different email and see if that
Anybody
works.
else have an issue with that? The client coach tracker, not being able to print it? All right. So I'll take a look at that, and let me know if you send it to another email and it works. And that will we'll figure it out one way or another. But yeah, well, I'll touch base with her. She's in Cabo, as you guys know. The big dummy
What the heck?
Big dummy forgot to check his passport, but It's all good. I'm here with you guys and I'm loving it. So I've moved past it. I'm abiding by my own 24-hour rule. You guys have heard my 24-hour rule before. I only cry over my successes for 24 hours and I only celebrate them for 24. So I'm moving on and I'm having a great day, actually. I took care of a bunch of things. My son's here doing virtual learning. And so it's all good. I'm getting to see my grandbabies all week. So I'm loving it. So
I have a quick question. Where is that client coach tracker located?
so the client coach tracker is probably in the Power Hour thread. And so once with Dobby, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure it's in organic coaching because it should be there. And I don't want to take the time away from this to go and find it real quick, but I will make sure that it's in the files for you, Jody, because that's a great question. And it really helps with the structure and how things are flowing for the clients first week and with or a new coach and their training. So that's really
Okay, thank you.
I'll make sure I get that for you. Okay, let's go back to this really quick, our document library. I want to show you a couple other things, and we're going to talk about starting a new client well. So the next piece is the night before call, right? So before we get to the night before call, we have to kind of start communicating with them. So I'm just going to show you a brand new client of ours. We have a new coach. I announced him yesterday, last night. He's been on program for 2 weeks. And we just followed the process that we're talking about showing you guys. And so he's loving it. And he's like, we put him in Chasing Better his first week. And he accepted the invite. I tagged him in a few things and he said, I want to talk about this coaching thing. And so we did a Coach Explore with him on his 1 week check-in. And he was excited and he's like, I want to move forward. So last night I was doing his check-in and we had planned last night to talk about some things. And so he said, I would love to coach. I'd love to help my wife start to get healthy. So what I want to do is show you my messenger thread because I want to show you how I'm getting clients started, right? So for like a lot of you, your first clients, your coach them for you. And so I want to make sure we're all on the same page as far as how we start a client. So can you guys see my page still? Are you seeing my Facebook? Okay, I'm hoping that I can bring this up so you can start to see this thread here. Okay, so we've already done a health assessment with her, right? And so the very first message that we send our client right after they get off the phone, right after they order is, well, first of all, I always tell them, right? I'm going to start sending you stuff right away to get you started, to get thinking about health, setting some goals, creating some baselines so we can measure success very clearly. So this is the very first text that I send them. I'm going to show you where we get those texts so that you can start using them in your own business. The ones that I use, they have been revamped. They have some new links in them. They were created by Michelle and Josh Bamba. And so in there, you can find all of these texts in here. But Optavia has some of their own, so you can use theirs if you want. This is your guys' business. I think the key takeaway here is that every client, going back to the first comment I made around consistent experience, is that every client has the same experience in terms of how we get them started. So we finish their order, and then I start the text right away. I say, friend request me on Facebook. I'm going to add you to Nourished, and I'm going to help you get started right away. Once you friend request me, I'll invite you to Nourished, and I'm going to start a messenger thread between you and I that I'm going to be sending you some text for the next 8 days or more. And so the very first text that they're going to get is one like this one, right? So all I did is it's a canned message and I just put her name in. Katie, your program is ordered and it's on its way. Here's the 2 important things. There's a little video with Dr. A in it, gives them some next steps to do. And after I finish the order, after the health assessment, I always tell them, we're going to be talking very soon before you start, because I want to make sure you're successful. So we're going to have a call before you start as soon as you get your box. And so we're going to need to figure out that time. The way that we'll know is by the tracking number that you're going to get from Optavia in about 4 to 5 days from now, 3 to 4, 4 to 5 days. When you see that tracking number, make sure you click it and find out the date so that we can link up schedules. And so we can unpack your box together and help you to have a very successful day one. Sound good? They get their commitment. Yes, great. Now I know that all of you are getting the same text message or the same email from Optavia, but it's a little bit of accountability, right? It's their program. And so I want them to start taking ownership and communicating with me when that's coming in, right? So it gives them some things to do. They can take a look at it. The very next day, or the other thing that I send them that night, I always let them know, I'm going to send you a video. It's 9 minutes long. And I want you to watch it anytime before we talk next time, right before your shipment gets there. So this is the video that we use. If you guys don't have this, I will put this in the business thread. This video here, it's the journey kickoff video. It's really simple. It's just a basic, like, here's how you get started. You're going to have 5 feelings a day. It's great. It's clean. It's short. It's a great overview. So it's short, but I like it because it gets them thinking, and it really is preparing them for our night before call. So the next message they're going to get is the next day. So I sent that last night. This morning, I sent them this one. Good morning, Katie. Your Habits Health Transformational System arrives with your program and is key to your long-term success. So this is the very next day. They're getting this text. And so they have something more to do. Do you see what I'm doing? Is I'm keeping current. We just had this amazing dialogue conversation. They're excited to get started. And I'm keeping that momentum going about, oh, they're getting excited, right? So there's another text that they're getting the next day. There is some subsequent text. It's not in this thread because I send it the day before we're going to talk on the night before call. So it says, hey, it looks like your program is going to arrive, and I always edit it, and I'll say on Tuesday or whatever the tracking number says. And then I'll say, let's plan on talk on this day at this time. How's that work for you? I've looked at my schedule. I know what works. And I'm asking them now, how does this time work for you? That sounds great. Our call is going to be about 20, 25 minutes. It'll go much faster if you've read the guide that I sent you and that you've watched the video. If you've read the guide, and in these emails or these texts, there is a link to the guide, the getting started guide. You guys know what I'm talking about, the little spiral bound one that has the leaning green information, right? So I asked, make sure you read that and watch the video, and we'll be good to go. That'll help shorten up the call, and I can just focus on tips and any questions you have. So I will show you where we get all of these text messages. In fact, I'll do you one better. I'm going to post it in the group thread that we have for Power Hour. So just to save us some time, you will see that. And so I'd like you to consider using this as a way to build consistency, as a way to build momentum in them getting started once they've said yes and they've ordered their kit and they can keep moving. Does that make sense? Any questions about any of this so far? Okay, cool. Okay, you guys let me know where you want to go from here. We can talk about the night before. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I had a quick question. My husband asked me a question, asked me something, so I had to run away. Okay, so when you're sending them the messages, do you send them on Facebook or do you text them? Because I've kind of done both, and I don't know if I should be doing one or the other, or both is fine.
You know, that's a good question. I used to do it in text, but now I like Messenger, and here's why. Because these links that you're seeing right here, they work so much better. Like if they have an Apple phone, you're good. But if they have an Android, it may not come out right. So I like to use Messenger because everybody can use Messenger on any platform. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I also have one client who isn't, she's older, she's 75. And she always asks me, can you email it to me? So every day I email her.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. And that's great. That's a great way to show respect, is just to say, like, are you okay with me sending Messenger? Or I'll say, do you have Messenger? And they'll say, yeah, great. Or if they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, then I know, one, they don't have Facebook. And so then I'm going to broach that conversation, which is, great. I'm going to help you create one, and I'm going to be your only friend, because I need to get you in our community. I'm not asking them if they're open to it, because they're going to tell me. They're going to say, I don't do that. And I'll say, okay, no problem. Move away from it, right? So, and I always bring it up later because I always say, this is an important way to see our community. Are you open to seeing it now? And that may be it later down the road. I did make one misstep and I want to clear it up really quick. I said the next time we're going to talk is the night before call. Actually, that is true. When you start sending the day 1 through 8 text on the night before call, I always tell them, you're going to continue to get those texts from me for the next 8 days, but we're going to talk on day 4. We're going to talk on day 4. It's only going to be a 2 or 3 minute phone call. And my intention for that call is only to see how you're doing and hear your voice. So it can be a call, it can be a Zoom. I just want to know how you're doing. But it's always a call. It's always like I actually am hearing them. It's not a text. Now, I know that some of you are texting these clients every day for the first 8 days, like, hey, how's everything going? I'm here to tell you, I never do that. I send them the link in the messenger every day. And I tell them, this is your opportunity when you get this link. If you have a question, send me a question. If you want to talk, let's talk. Say, hey, I'd like to talk tonight. Great. But I know that it's going to take 4 days. And on the 4th day, they're going to be feeling much better. And so if I need them to kind of have some of this journey on their own, meaning like they're getting the support, they're nourished, they have these things. And so I'm encouraging them, like, use the community. If you have questions, send me a message. I'll send you a text message every day. If you have a question about how you're feeling or if something's right, send me a message. But this is how we give them the ability to start managing some discomfort. And I'm going to tell you, I don't see people go away their first week. So that if you're worried about like, oh my gosh, I got to text, I'm just telling you, I've just seen it over and over, and less is more. And that's the cool thing, is less is more. And that's how you can have 5 hours a week helping 5 people. But you will never have 5 hours a week helping 5 people if you're on the phone with them every day for 20 minutes, walking them through the decision. I'm just telling you, it actually creates more of an issue, and it creates less time freedom for you. We need to show them all of the tools and start to help them use it. And I'm telling you, over and over, I have never ever seen, and Rachel's the same way, haven't seen people leave first week because we weren't calling or texting them enough, right? The canned messages that we're sending them are just enough to give them something to do, something to watch. On day 4, they know I'm calling, and I always call them, and typically everything's going great because all the little bit of discomfort they had in the beginning, the text messages talk about it. It'll say, you might have a headache today. And so drink a Powerade Zero. It says it already in there, so you don't have to recreate it. So I love it. And I'll post it in our thread here for the Power Hour. All right.
Sorry, I'm gonna ask
go for
another
it.
question because I don't know if the messages, the daily messages to send to clients that I have are different. Obviously, I can tell because on day 1, day 2, and day 3, it says, oh, do you have a minute to touch base or to talk tonight? And so for the first 4 days, I'm on the phone with them, calling them to make sure that everything's okay. Those are the ones that Yessie and Chris had sent us. And so obviously the ones that you have are different. And I kind of like yours because I know on day 4, again, that they're going to be feeling different. Whereas day 1 through 3 is going to be a little challenging.
So the canned messages on all of them say that. I'm going to tell you that I edit them because we haven't changed that document. So the ones you're using are probably the same. And I just take that line out because I've already told them, this is the vehicle, right? Messenger or whatever you're using, text is the vehicle. If you have a question or you want to talk, just let me know. Like, hey, can we chat tonight real quick? Right? Because I've already told them in the beginning, like, this is our thread. If you have questions, put it in here this week. If you have questions that I'm not available, put them in Nourished, right? And you guys see a lot of those questions from coaches or clients. And so you guys are all doing a great job. We're all helping the clients like, hey, oh, here's the answer to this, or this is where you find that. So that's one thing you can do, Courtney, right away, is just take that verbiage out and you can clean it up on all of yours, and then you're good to go. And you should be fine moving forward. Any questions, any thoughts, any like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do that. And I'm not telling you what to do, guys. This is your own business. I'm just telling you what I've seen that will give you that ability to help more people and have more time freedom. And just the fear that I had was the same as yours, or you may have had, is like, oh, if I don't talk to them, they're going to go away. And I just haven't seen that. I've seen actually the opposite. So I think most people, they gotta chew on things, right? They gotta kind of figure things out. And so sometimes if it's too much, it can create more issues where they're now rediscussing what they're doing. They work out a lot of those bugs in the first 3 days, and they'll always tell me on day 4, man, day 2 was tough. I almost quit. I've heard that so many times, but it's never come to a call like on day 2 where they're like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I haven't yet. I'm sure it'll happen, but I just haven't yet.
Tim, this is Crystal. I have a couple questions.
Yeah, go for it.
So kind of going back a little bit where you were reviewing the video, and I think it was in our Voxer, some coaches were asking if there is a 4 and 2 video for some clients that are not on 5 and 1 that we can send that to them. And then also the other question was, it had come up in Power Hour 2, but it didn't come up again. So I was just wondering going forward if it was something we're doing or not, where we're bringing in new clients, we're starting them on a messenger thread, but it's us as coach, our new client, and our mentor coach. So then it's the 3 of us on that thread. So that way the mentor, it's like kind of like that support for us. And then they already know who's coming in. And if we need help with something, then we're in that group. Like I said, that had come up, but I just didn't hear anything about it again.
Yeah, so that's a great point. And I think what you're referring to is, well, first of all, let me address the first question, which was the 4 and 2 video. We don't have one currently. And I'm open if anyone wants to work on creating one, by all means. I'm just saying to you, here's what I'm going to say, is that I don't know if we really need to, and here's why. Because if you think about the 4, 2, and 1, what the video really is talking about in the 5 and 1 video is the number, the big number, at least in the 5 and 1 and the 4, 2, 1, is always how many fuelings, right? So 4 fuelings a day for the 4, 2, 1, 2 leaning greens, and the optional snack. So the video is a good overview in that you're going to be, based on what your coach has told you, the program that is going to fit what you want is going to be 4 fuelings. So I would just couch that until we have something, until Optavia creates something, or until one of us create one, I'm going to send you this video. This is an overview of our most common. When they're talking about setting your 5 feelings aside, you know that yours is 4. And then when they're talking about creating your 1 leaning green, you know you're creating 2. And so everything else is the same. The minimum water they talk about in the video, right? All of the same things. So we don't have a video for that for now, but that's one way you can still use the video and still be able to help them with that. To your second question, I think this is a great idea. This came from the Russell team, and what they're doing is it's really just creating more community, getting them exposed to team coaching quicker, and it gives you the ability for multiple people to encourage other people. So for example, if Dobby starts a new client, and in her message thread, she's going to put Michelle in her coaching thread. Why? Because Michelle can also go, oh my God, I'm so excited for you. Dobby's such an amazing coach. She can edify her, and she can say, I'm here too if you ever have any questions, or if I'm going to send you a friend request so we can be friends on Facebook. It's just building that community. And now there's one more person besides Dobby that she knows in the community that she can ask questions. And so that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. And so typically when we start a new coach, the first client, like for example, in Jody's case, Julie is going to be coaching that client for Jody, and Jody's going to be watching. The second client that Jody has, Julie is going to be in the thread, but she's going to be watching her send the day text, communicating, any questions and needs that the client has. And so it's not so awkward when Julie gets on the call on week 2 now and says, hey, I've been watching you. I saw your pictures. I saw some of the communication going on, some great questions in Nourish. So awesome. I saw the pictures on your Facebook about your family and your trip. That's awesome. So exciting. There's a little bit of a relationship there. And now the third client for the new coach is pretty much you've kind of got that. And typically your mentors are on your coaches threads, just again for support, wouldn't be for your clients anymore after the third, because typically it's such a wash, rinse, repeat what we do. It really helps. It's really super simple, and especially for using the system. Did I answer that question for you in the second part? Or
Yes, thank you.
awesome.
So Tim, I have a silly question. How do you create that? How do you create a thread? You just add them?
Oh,
You just add them to a group? I mean, you just group them? How do you do it?
yeah.
I'm
so
old school, you know.
Yeah, I know. No
I'm one of
problem.
the old people. I just turned 58, you know.
I'm not that far behind you. Okay, so we're going to do this. I'm going to tell you right now, I've never created a group on the computer. I always do it from my phone. So I'm going to try here to do it for you here. So I'm going to create a new message. And well, see, it's not going to let me do it here. So this is Messenger. Let's see here if it gives me options. Oh, let's see all in Messenger. Oh, perfect. Let's see if this works. Okay, so let's see if I go to here and I want to create a message. And it always takes a little bit longer here. So typically when you go to create a message, it'll ask you who you want to, or it'll say if there's an option for creating a group. I think what I might do, Dobby, is I can screen record it on my phone, what I'm doing, and I can put it in the message thread so that you can see how we do that. So I can actually screen record, meaning everything that I'm doing in creating a group on Messenger, you'll be able to see it, and I can post it in Organic Coaching. Or I'll post it in the Power Hour thread. That'll probably be easier. Because you can see this thing is still spinning, so I'm not going to be able to get to it right now. Anything else? Any other questions? Anything I can clarify for you guys around what we talked about? And then I think Friday we'll kind of get a little deeper. We'll talk about night before call, or the other option is what I can do to help you is I can, if one of you want me to unpack your business for you and show you if it was my business, what I would do, I can do that for you as well. So we can take part of the call to do that, or we can also do some training on the night before call. And also that week 1 system check. We can do some more training around that. So you guys put in the Power Hour your suggestions. We'll tackle that on Friday if you guys are going to be in attendance. And again, if you want me to unpack your business, then just send me a message and just say, hey, I'd be open to you doing that. And I'll dig into your business and we'll break it out in front of everybody and we'll all learn from it. The last time we did this, just so you know, we did this for Michelle Offerman's business. And the very next month, she went to ED. So just a little thought.
I volunteer as tribute.
You volunteer?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Awesome. Okay, Jamie, I got you. I love it. Perfect. So we'll do Jamie's business, and then we'll also we'll do some more training around the night before call, just some best practices, and hopefully we'll get into that first week system check so it's really clear. Like you guys, I really want you to feel so confident about what to do, how to add them to Chasing Better, how to even couch that part of the conversation if that's worrisome to you. All of those things we'll get into, and any suggestions you have that you want to cover, please throw it in the Power Hour chat and we'll dig into it.
Thanks, Tim.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Did you guys, somebody else have one more thing? Awesome. All right, everybody. We'll see you on Friday.
Bye.
See ya.